Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Storyline English. I'm really happy you're here with me today. Get comfortable, relax your mind, and let's open the door to another story together. Today, we travel to Japan, to a time of swords and silence, a time when one man walked alone and became the greatest warrior the world had ever seen. His name was Miyamoto Musashi, and this is his story. If you are new here, welcome. This channel is your place to learn English through calm, powerful stories. Please subscribe before we begin, and stay with me until the end, because this journey is one you will carry with you for a long time. The year was 1584. Japan was not a peaceful country. It was a land of war. Powerful lords called daimyo fought each other for land and power. Armies moved across mountains and rice fields. Swords were everywhere. And in this world, in a small village in the province of Harima, a boy was born. His name was Shinmen Benosuke. Later, the world would know him as Miyamoto Musashi. His childhood was not soft or easy. His mother died when he was very young. His father, a skilled swordsman named Shinmen Munisai, was a hard and distant man. Some stories say his father abandoned him. Others say he simply could not care for the boy. Either way, Benosuke grew up mostly alone. He was raised for a time by an uncle, a Buddhist monk who taught him to read and to think. But the boy's heart was not drawn to books or temples. It was drawn to the sword. He watched older men train. He picked up sticks and practiced alone in the fields. Something inside him burned, a fire that had no name yet. He did not know where it would take him, but even as a young child, something about this boy was different. Something quiet, something waiting. And the question that follows his early life is this: what turns a lonely, abandoned child into the most undefeated warrior in all of history? Musashi was 13 years old when he fought his first real duel. 13. That is not a man. That is still a boy. His opponent was a samurai named Arima Kihei, an experienced fighter who had traveled the country looking for duels and victories. Kihei posted a public challenge in Musashi's village, inviting anyone to fight him. Most men were afraid, but young Benosuke, this thin, rough boy with wild eyes, sent a message accepting the challenge. The people around him were shocked. Some laughed. Some warned him to stop, but he did not listen. On the day of the duel, Musashi arrived without armor, without a real sword. He carried only a wooden staff. Kihei was ready with a real blade. What happened next was fast and brutal. Musashi threw himself at the man with complete force. No hesitation, no fear. He knocked him down and beat him until he stopped moving. Kihei died from his injuries. Musashi walked away. He was 13 years old, and he had already killed a man. He did not celebrate. He did not speak much about it. He simply continued walking. This moment, this first violent step, opened a door that would never close again. Because Musashi had discovered something that day. Not just that he could win, but that in the moment of real danger, he felt completely calm. And that calmness would become his greatest weapon. After his first duel, Musashi left his village. He was young, barely 15, but he chose the road. He became what the Japanese called a ronin, a samurai with no master, a man who belongs to no one. He wandered from village to village, from province to province, carrying almost nothing. He slept in forests and temples. He ate simple food when he could find it. And wherever he went, he looked for one thing: a fight. Not out of anger, not out of cruelty. He fought to learn. Every duel was a lesson. Every opponent taught him something new. Some were faster. Some were stronger. Some used tricks he had never seen before. And every time, every single time, Musashi found a way to win. He was not always graceful. In his early years, he was rough and unpredictable. He fought with a wild energy that confused his opponents. But slowly, through experience, through failure, through long nights of thinking alone, he began to understand something deeper about combat. It was not about the sword. It was about the mind. The warrior who controls his own mind controls the fight. This was the discovery that changed everything for Musashi. And it was a discovery that came not in a moment, but slowly, over years of lonely walking and quiet reflection. His journey was just beginning, and somewhere ahead, a duel was waiting that would test everything he had learned. In the early 1600s, Musashi arrived in Kyoto, Japan's most famous city. Beautiful, ancient, and full of powerful people. And in Kyoto, there was a family that everyone respected: the Yoshioka clan. They were the official sword instructors to the shogun, the most powerful ruler in Japan. They had a famous school, famous students, and a very high opinion of themselves. Musashi challenged them. Not one of them, all of them. He walked to their school and requested a duel with the head of the family, Yoshioka Seijuro. The city was shocked. Who was this young ronin with dirty clothes and no master? Seijuro accepted. The duel took place outside the city. Musashi arrived late, very late. This was deliberate. He wanted to disturb his opponent's mind, make him angry, make him impatient. It worked. Seijuro was furious by the time Musashi arrived, and in that emotional state, he made a mistake. Musashi struck him once, with perfect timing, and broke his arm. Seijuro was finished. But the Yoshioka clan was not. His brother, Denshichiro, stepped forward to take revenge. Another duel. Musashi used the same strategy: patience, timing, one decisive strike. Denshichiro fell. The clan was humiliated. They planned one final duel, this time sending their best fighters together in a group to surround and kill Musashi at night. He arrived before them, hidden, waiting. When they came, he moved through them like a shadow. He escaped. And the Yoshioka clan, one of the most powerful sword schools in Japan, was destroyed. Not by an army, by one man, alone. Years passed. Musashi continued to walk, to fight, to learn. His name grew. Stories about him traveled faster than he did, and slowly, another name began to travel toward his. Sasaki Kojiro. Kojiro was everything Musashi was not. He was elegant. He was trained in a formal school. He dressed well. He moved with beauty and precision. His sword technique was called Tsubame Gaeshi, the swallow counter, a strike so fast that people said it could cut a bird from the air. He was, by every measure, a masterwork of the samurai tradition. And people wanted to know, what would happen if these two men faced each other? The answer came on the morning of April 13th, 1612. The location, a small island called Ganryujima near the coast. Kojiro arrived early. He was calm and perfectly dressed. He waited and waited. Musashi did not come. The hours passed. Kojiro's patience began to crack. And then, a boat appeared. Musashi sat inside it, carving something from a spare wooden oar. He was making his weapon, a long, rough wooden sword. He arrived late, deliberately, again. His clothes were simple. His hair was loose. He looked like a man who had just woken up. Kojiro was furious. He drew his sword and threw the scabbard into the sea. Musashi looked at him and said quietly, "You have already lost. A man who throws away his scabbard does not plan to go home." The duel lasted only seconds. One movement. Musashi's wooden sword struck Kojiro across the temple. Kojiro fell, and Musashi walked back to his boat without looking back. He was undefeated. 60 duels, 60 victories, and he never lost once. After Ganryujima, something changed in Musashi. He stopped fighting duels. He put down the sword, not out of fear, but out of something deeper. He had learned everything the sword could teach him, and now he wanted to understand something else. Life itself. He traveled still, but differently. He painted. He wrote poetry. He made sculptures from wood and metal. He studied Zen Buddhism. He sat with monks. He walked in forests alone for days at a time. He took students, young men who wanted to learn the way of the sword, and he taught them not just how to fight. He taught them how to think, how to see, how to be still in the middle of chaos. He called his philosophy the way of the warrior, and he began, slowly, to write it all down. The years moved quietly. Japan itself was changing, becoming more peaceful under the Tokugawa shogunate. The age of constant war was ending, and Musashi, the man who had lived entirely for combat, found himself living in a time that no longer needed him in the same way. He was not bitter about this. He accepted it. That acceptance, that deep, quiet peace, was perhaps his greatest victory of all, because he had spent his whole life mastering the sword, and then he learned to master himself. In his final years, Musashi retreated to a cave, a dark, quiet cave called Reigando in the mountains of Kumamoto. He was old. His body was tired. His hands, which had held swords for 60 years, now held a brush. And in that cave, alone, in silence, he wrote. The book he wrote is called Gorin no Sho, in English, The Book of 5 Rings. He finished it just weeks before his death. It is not a long book, but every sentence is heavy with meaning. He wrote about combat, but also about life, about strategy, but also about patience, about the sword, but also about the mind. He wrote that the warrior must be like water. Water does not fight the stone, it flows around it. It finds the path of least resistance, and in time, water shapes everything. He wrote that distraction is the enemy of mastery, that a calm mind sees more clearly than an excited one, that the goal of the warrior is not to win, but to understand. These ideas were not just for samurai. They were for anyone who wanted to live with purpose and clarity. Merchants read it, politicians read it, and centuries later, business leaders, athletes, and thinkers around the world still read it today. Musashi died on May 19, 1645. He was 60 years old. He died peacefully, sitting upright in the posture of a warrior at rest. He had no wife, no children, no fortune. But he left behind something more lasting than all of those things. He left behind wisdom. And so, my friends, we come to the end of this journey together. The story of Miyamoto Musashi is not just a story about fighting. It is a story about mastery, about what happens when one person gives everything, every day, for an entire lifetime, to becoming the best version of themselves. Musashi was not born great. He was born alone and poor and angry. But he chose a path, and he walked it, no matter how cold the nights were, no matter how dangerous the road, no matter how lonely the silence. He walked it all the way to the end. What can we take from his life? Perhaps this, that mastery is not a destination, it is a direction. Every day you choose to move toward it or away from it. Every word you learn in English is one step forward. Every story you listen to is a small act of discipline. And discipline, over time, becomes freedom. You are on your own journey, and I am honored to walk part of it with you. This is Storyline English, a place where every story teaches you something real. If this story stayed with you today, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. Tell me, what was the moment in Musashi's life that moved you most? I read every comment, and your next story is already waiting. We will see you there. My friends, if Musashi's lessons resonated with you today, I'd love to invite you to go deeper. The Book of Five Rings is absolutely worth your time. It's short, it's powerful, and honestly, every time you read it, you'll pick up something new. You can find it on Amazon, and I really encourage you to grab a copy. Read it slowly, and come back to it whenever you need that clarity and focus. Thanks so much for being here with me.